Hey everybody, Frenchy Pal here with an update video on an area that we're turning barren dirt into healthy garden soil. Now, if you haven't checked out the first, we actually have two videos on it. You can check out the playlist right up here. Now, have you watched it? Okay, assuming you have, then you remember this is dusty, kind of dry area. Now, in 3 months, a lot has changed. So let's take a look at how it looks now. So here it is. Now let me see if I can do a side by side a little bit. There you go. What a difference. So I'm going to take you through kind of how the plant communities have adjusted and how the management strategy for this plot of land is now running. So starting over here, we've already got a burst of color. A lot of Spanish needle flowers have come up, and they're a weed, a wild weed, but amazingly lush, and they really tolerate the heat extremely well. And throughout the day, from sunrise to sunset, they are abuzz with bees. We've got our mulberry that was quite sad, has added on about that much growth and put on entirely new leaves and some new shoots. And we've kind of continued to add organic material. Here we've got some pineapples, a canna lily. We've actually had enough moisture lately to start sprouting some wild mushrooms on a log. And this whole area, what was once just exposed to dirt and then some mulch that we threw on, starting to shade the soil, has now become primarily shaded by green vegetation. So we've got Cuban oregano plants in here. And so that's a succulent that's in its Plectranthus, in the mint family. We've got a potato mint, or a house of potato. Pigeon pea is coming up. One day this will actually be quite a large plant, and they've got very deep tap roots to break apart rock and start weathering that rock in order to turn it to soil. Again, more Cuban oregano. This was the little planting area that was so sad in the second video that we did. We had some peppers that were holding on for dear life. They have now come to shine in and of themselves. This whole pumpkin squash, a tropical pumpkin, they call it calabaza here, was started from seed. We threw and broadcast a ton of seeds like pigeon pea, like pumpkin, all throughout this area just to see what would come up and how things would do. And sure enough, it took, and it's of all of the seeds that we broadcast, that's the only one that's really making a name for itself. So guess which one we're going to save seeds from and replant. Now these sweet potatoes, in the midst, we've got that watermelon vine that's, taking hold. We've got this sweet potato that was this small little leggy plant, now rich. And we're eating out of this garden, out of this 20, 30-foot stretch. We're already eating out of it at least once a day because we're harvesting these sweet potato leaves, throwing them in recipes, harvesting the tips, adding them for nutritious food. And so we are already getting harvests off of this plot. Back in here, we've got a apple banana sprouting out. I just noticed we've got that little guy coming out. He actually looks somewhat like a sort of banana. I don't remember ever planting a banana or plantain in there. I will have to see and keep you guys posted as he grows up, as we identify what he is. We've got a chaya plant back in here. This area is riddled. We've got cassava poking its head up, riddled with plants. And like we've got the watermelon, we've got the sweet potato, more Cuban oregano. And this dense carpet facilitates microbial activity beneath it. Because when it rains, and we've had some rains recently, when it rains, the ground stays far wetter for longer than the exposed area out here. And you can see, like, this is almost kind of what it looked like, and then the cliffside. But now we've got this green belt coming in with mulch piles to foster even more fertility for the area. And when we do mulch piles in and amongst all this sea of green, the fungi work their way to decompose the woody material and then branch out and feed nutritious material to the plants. We've cut and harvested the sugarcane since the last videos, and now it's starting to come back up for round 2. And then we've got a plantain plant that has really come into its own, and that's an older pigeon pea, but that's how, I mean, that's still small and young. They get quite larger. But now what is key to the management practice of this plot is all throughout here, now that I've got a green carpet of edible plants, so this sweet potato, I can come in and take the Spanish needle, reach down in there, pull it, and toss it as mulch. And I can do that, with them and the grasses. This is natal grass. And I can chop and drop the weeds and still have the ground beneath it be shaded. And so you can see where we're doing that. We're already cycling carbon, organic material from the site itself. We're still occasionally importing some into this garden bed. Like we brought a couple buckets of leaves from the roadside and dumped them throughout this garden bed to really shade things. And now that we've got all this green organic matter growing in the garden, we're cycling that nutrition, cycling those nutrients, and fostering that healthy soil. Speaking of, how's it look? Earlier we saw how dry and dusty it is, so let's take a look what we've got. So if I pull back in this little garden bed area, we've got some of the original mulches that we put in. Take a stick here, and you can see already fungal networks, the teeth of the soil going to work. And we pull this open, get a good fistful of soil, and already we're starting to see a much darker, richer color. And again, the moisture is because we've had some rain recently. But we've got a fair bit of carbon being added to the soil, organic matter coming to its own, and microbial life taking hold, and fungi especially, powerhouses, the workhorses of the soil. And the plants, their leaves are dark and lush and green. And we've been throwing everything in here. Food scraps, weeds, sticks, leaves, you name it. If it is organic material, it goes in here. It's kind of an organic trash can, if you would say. Now, I could throw a bunch of paper scrap and stuff in here, but I haven't really been doing much of that. But or vegetable fruit carcasses, seeds, when we ate pineapples, we took the tops off and planted them in here. Everything and anything and everything. So I won't drone on forever, but it's just so impressive in 3 months how this plot has changed. So keep an eye on the future for videos coming out on this exact same spot. We'll see. I mean, we're starting to get that organic matter in the soil, but it's still not that black, rich garden soil that we want yet. But keep an eye on it. We'll see how it changes. We'll see how these plant communities change and how this transitions from barren soil or barren dirt into weedy but enriching soil into an edible, productive paradise garden. So I'm excited for what comes next, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.